I want to talk about Earl Thomas. So my favorite football team is the Seattle Seahawks. I know I get called a Patriots bandwagon all the time. No, I just appreciate the Patriots. I'm truly a diehard Seattle Seahawks. The WSU Cougs and the Seattle Seahawks. Those are my teams. I'm from Washington. I live in Washington, so I am a fan of the Seattle Seahawks. And last weekend, the Seahawks beat the Cowboys, which officially knocked the Cowboys out of the playoffs. And after the game, Earl Thomas, one of the best defensive stars for the Seahawks and their starting safety, runs over to the Dallas Cowboys head coach and says, if y'all have the chance, come get me. Word for word, that's what he said. If y'all have the chance, come get me. Basically, when he defended himself later, he said, yeah, when Seattle's done with me, I want to see if the Cowboys can get me. I want to play for the Cowboys. Oh my goodness, everybody was outraged. Everybody was so angry. They could not fathom why Earl Thomas would say this. I may be the only person who supports Earl Thomas. Even me, a Seahawks fan, a guy whose favorite football team this man plays for, who said he wanted to go play somewhere, who didn't say he wanted to go play somewhere else, but he said, hey, if you can get me, I'd like to play for the Cowboys. I'm not outraged. I have no problem in the world with Earl Thomas going up to Jason Garrett and saying, hey, come get me. That's because I am pro player. I support Earl Thomas. Someone I know made the comparison. They said, well, what if Pete Carroll ran up to Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and said, hey, when Seattle's done with me, I'd love to coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, that's so frustrating that people would even make that comparison. Here is the difference. Here is why that is absolutely silly and completely wrong. Earl Thomas can't cut anyone. Earl Thomas, unlike Pete Carroll, Earl Thomas has no say in what happens to him. Earl Thomas is at the mercy of the people above him. And let's be honest, the Seahawks are probably going to break up their defensive core and trade away guys like Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman this offseason. So yeah, I don't blame Earl Thomas at all. Maybe he loves Seattle, maybe he doesn't. But what's wrong with him wanting to go home? He's from Texas. He went to Texas. Let the guy go play for his favorite football team. What's wrong with that? I have no problem. Again, these guys are at the mercy of everybody above them. These guys have no agency over what happens to them. Unless you're a free agent, you really have no decision where to go. Remember, a football team can cut you anytime they want. So Earl Thomas, I have no problem with that. I'm pro player. And the fact that you're not as silly. Again, I'm a guy who I like the individual. I want little guys like me to have agency over them. I'm never going to side with the big company. I'm not going to side with the Seahawks who make a ton of money and don't really care about Earl Thomas. The Seahawks don't care about Earl Thomas. Come on, guys. Seahawks fans are driving me nuts. I can't believe people do not support Earl Thomas even more. I'm a Seahawks fan. And he talked about leaving my favorite football team, yet I still support Earl Thomas because I am pro player. I am pro player movement. I think he should have the agency to go wherever he wants. So look, I support Earl Thomas completely. I have no problem with him going up to the Cowboys coach after a game and saying, yeah, hey, come get me. Because let's be honest, this probably happened all the dang time. And we just haven't had cameras around to see it. Would I rather have been a text? Yeah, it would have been better for PR. But who cares? Earl Thomas won us a Super Bowl. Earl Thomas has given his heart and soul for Seahawks fans. So to be mad when he's realistic and says, hey, I'm probably going to get traded away. I'd like to go to the Cowboys. Hey, Cowboys, come get me. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that at all. It's silly, and people are being completely unrealistic and completely silly.